Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Zare Felrose here bringing you even more Pokemon Go Battle League content. This is going to be our last video for the Holiday Cup in Season 10, featuring the team that took me to Veteran. Now, people are currently at the moment hitting Legend as we speak. Our first few Legends have already peaked, and they've gotten up there, gotten a nice pose, and they've closed, and so I'm taking it slow this season. I could be there, but I want to focus on my family and I want to focus on coaching. And just if you, dear viewer, would like coaching or just want to join the community that I've got started here with some meta-relevant content, some, early access videos and a Discord community here, you can go ahead and check out the link in the description for that. And without further ado, let's get into this team here. And obviously, huge shout out to those who are sub to the Patreon. I could not be doing this without you guys. And if you're in the Patreon group, you knew about this team long before this video is airing. This team has an Altaria lead with that Community Day Moonblast. We've got our MVP safe swap of the Holiday Cup down there, Dewgong, rocking that double legacy moveset. And then Volt Switch, Rock Blast, Stone Edge, Graveler, not throwing rocks. We're using electricity in this one here. As the closer now, and easily the best member of this team is Dewgong. It does so much work. It's unfathomable. Now, my silly self took one day off not to record my battles, hit Veteran on this team with an 18-7, just win-loss of the day, and didn't record it. So these are going to be the battles from the day after. After I took a little bit of a tumble just to kind of, just get the queue times down, because I don't want to deal with queue times. I'm not here for it. I don't have time for queue times, so I'll hit Legend later this season, and I'll be happy to wait to do it as long as I don't have to sit in queue for an hour. But anyway, let's check out some of these teams in this here showcase, and without further ado, let's get into the first one. So we've got our Altaria on the lead versus Wigglytuff. This is a god-awful matchup. You have to bail out because there's no way Altaria does anything to a Wigglytuff. So we go straight to the Dewgong, start getting ahead on energy. My opponent stays in, so they don't have a solid answer to Dewgong. They swap out with the Marowak coming in. Now I'm going to hit him with a Water Pulse because I did get so much energy. Typically, those Charm leads will wait to get the Icy Wind, and then they'll swap out. So I'm going to get a shield with this Water Pulse here. And truthfully, I'm down to go for another Water Pulse here. I want to either get that shield or I want to tank some health off of this thing, because I know that Altaria can come in and manhandle this Marowak if it lets me. So we're going to go for the Water Pulse here, do about half or so of the Marowak's HP if it lands. And my opponent will let it through, and I'm going to be able to do a little bit of chip damage before they take me out Fire Spin. So they're at such a point. Now, I know that the Fire Spin variant typically just runs Shadow Bone and then run Bone Club. So my opponent here is probably going to go for the Shadow Bone, which they do. And then Altaria is going to come Dragon Breath down. Maybe they get to another move. If not, that's fine with me. So then the Wigglytuff's going to come in. My entire purpose here is to basically come in and do as much damage to this now Litleo as I can. This is very, very reminiscent of Home Slice Henry's team, except the opponent took a Marowak rather than a Greedent. But my opponent's going to throw moves here. The only things that I need to worry about at this point are the moves from the Litleo, and I'm going to start throwing Rock Blasts to try and save some energy and some HP, so I can just boom that Wigglytuff with a Stone Edge. Now, they're going to let it go, so now at this point, my win condition is basically get to 2 Stone Edges and pray that it takes out this Wigglytuff. So, I'm going to go for the Stone Edge here, and then my opponent is going to let it go. Does a lot of damage here, and I'm going to be able to Volt Switch down just about, with my opponent having just barely able to take it out. Now, I have a shield, and 1 Dragon Breath is going to take out the Wigglytuff. GG to my opponent. That was very close. Alright, next battle here. We've got Altaria against Vigoroth. This is not a bad matchup, but the most annoying thing is that my opponents typically stay in this because the Body Slam spam is so oppressive that it's either going to get shields, or I'm forced to lose my Altaria because typically there's going to be something like a Talonflame in the back. Now, Talonflame I'm not worried about. But it's when you've got, like, a Unova and Stunfisk or something. Now, my opponent here comes in with the Marowak, and I'm looking to just do some chip damage here. My opponent looks to be mildly weak to the Altaria because they come in with the Marowak as a way to counter it. So I'm going to come in with Dewgong here as the least likely thing to get killed here. And they are using the Hex variant, so I expect the Fire Blast, and I shield it up here. And I don't need to go for Water Pulse at this point, so I'm going to overload on energy just a bit and my opponent's going to be able to get 2-move. But I know it's only a Shadow Bone because it's not another 7 or 8 hexes. So they're going to get the Shadow Bone off. That's fine. I'm going to go for this Icy Wind. I was really hoping to get it before they got 2-move. So I will charge it up just a bit so I can get a little bit more energy coming into the matchup against their most likely going to be their Vigoroth here. Now the thing with Vigoroth is they are squishy. Vigoroth is very attack weighted, so I'm going to be able to get this Icy Wind off. My opponent doesn't shield. It's going to do a little bit of damage, but it's also going to lower their attack, which means that their counters are going to do less damage, and I'm going to be able to get to another Icy Wind if my opponent doesn't throw, and they don't. So Body Slam comes through. I can almost get their switch into Talonflame. I almost get there against them, but they swapped out instead. So they're going to bring out the Talonflame. I'm going to bring in the Alolan Graveler because now there's nothing my opponent can do. There's nothing they can do. I just have to save the shield. That's it. GG's, my opponent concedes. They know what's going to happen. So next game here, all he had to do was just farm it down and then throw 1 Volt Switch. So Bibarel is making its comeback here in this Holiday Cup. Now, this is a great matchup for Altaria. Yes, Hyper Fang is kind of painful, but I'm resisting the water gun damage, and I don't want this thing to be against my Dewgong or really my Graveler, honestly. Because the Dewgong, while it's going to do okay, it does do only resisted damage, whereas the Bibarel can get the Hyper Fangs off and do quite a bit of damage to Dewgong. So I'm going to let it go. My opponent comes with an Altaria, and I'm looking to come in with Dewgong and hopefully farm this thing all the way down. Now, something could be said here to come in with the Graveler to make sure it stays away from the Bibarel, but I mean, at this point, I could farm down. I've got 2 shields. I could farm it all the way down, and I could come in with full energy against whatever comes in. And if they come with the Bibarel, then I know that my Altaria can farm it all the way down. But we'll find out. I'm going to throw 2 Icy Winds into whatever comes in here just so that I can make sure that I've got a great matchup, or I can start out with a double debuffed Mon against whatever comes in. So I'm going to go for these Icy Winds here, because I really want to wait up the switch clock. Like, if there's a chance that I can keep my Dewgong alive, I might look to swap out, because my opponent clearly didn't have a better answer for Altaria. So, considering that they didn't swap out in that matchup, then I'm good. But they come in with Tropius. Tropius now is going to be gravely afraid. They're going to get hit with the Icy Wind, and they're just going to concede. They know what's going to happen. So, good game. But Altaria kind of manhandled that whole team on its own. So Vigoroth comes in on the lead again. I saw a ton of this the day after I hit Veteran. It was just like, you know, even Vigoroth and Obstagoon on the same team, and they kept staying in, which is fine because I don't want them to see my backline. But then when you see an Obstagoon and a Vigoroth on the same team, that's when it got really dangerous, because crazy people running AAB teams were just everywhere. I don't understand it. I hate AAB teams, and they seem bad to me, but apparently they work against people running unbalanced teams. So kudos to them for catching the meta off guard like that. But I'm going to know at this point that I can actually farm down this Vigoroth if they let me, without having to spend more than 1 shield to possibly soak that next Body Slam that comes through. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here, because I want to keep this Vigoroth away from my backline. Now, I do have to spend a shield here. I have a lot of energy, and I would like to keep my Altaria alive a little bit. But I'm going to make a quick swap here to try and get ahead on energy with my Dewgong and flex that on them. The Dewgong is the best safe swap in the Holiday Cup, and we're going to see why. Against the Lantern with Water Gun. Now, because it has Thunderbolt, I do have to be afraid of it. But here's the thing. You're going to see through this kind of lengthy matchup, after a bunch of Icy Winds, and after I do shield the first Thunderbolt, I will go down to no shields here. But after that, it's all in Dewgong's favor. They're going to shield. They're going to have to shield, otherwise they're going to lose the matchup, because those Ice Shards do chunk quite a bit, and Icy Wind is nothing to sneeze at, especially when it's debuffing your attack by 2 times. The water gun damage is almost negligible. They're doing almost nothing. And if they're already half health, they've got 2 shields, they're going to have to use them. My opponent's already lost their Vigoroth, which is probably their best answer to an Ice Rock type. And they're going to fire off a double debuff Thunderbolt at this point. We're going to see how much damage it does. It does about 1/3 of Dewgong's health, which is fine. At this point, if they take me out or use energy, I'm okay with it, because they are now triple debuffed and they're using a shield. They're going to swap into the Talonflame. They were hiding in the back, and now they're going to lose the game because Graveler is just such a hard counter to Talonflame. It's crazy. It's throwing rocks. So my opponent's going to continue to try and play this out. I'm going to just get to 2 Rock Blasts and know that all I have to do is fire off this Rock Blast, and I basically win the game. So that is a good game to my opponent. They do not shield it. They're going to save the shield for the Lantern, which is smart by them. But because it takes so long for them to get to a move with a Water Gun, I'm going to be able to take them out. And I've got 2 Mons with decent fast move pressure to be able to get through that Mon with even the shield. So good game to my opponent there. Very spicy with the Water Gun damage there. It was very scary at a point. But Vigoroth once again on the lead. This is probably the most popular lead on the day that I recorded this video. So we're gonna see a lot of this matchup play out. This is a very popular lead matchup in the Holiday Cup, so it's good to know that you can beat this matchup without too much investment, and you likely, if they're building a team correctly, you likely get rid of their hardest counter to your backline because of that. That should normally be their only counter user. But Vigoroth is such a strong pick here in this Holiday Cup that there's a lot of players that just opt to pick a Vigoroth lead and maybe throw Obstagoon and Talonflame core in the back. So there are definitely those crazies to be aware of. But, you know, they come in with a Roserade here, and this is a Poison Jab Roserade. I'm looking to get to the Sky Attack just in time, and I'm not going to let them get any more farms. So I'm going to come straight in with my Ice Boy here, Dewgong, because I expect them to be running Sludge Bomb. They don't typically run Leaf Storm with Poison Jab, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's the reason why I no-shielded here, because I actually expected the Sludge Bomb due to Technical's recent video with his Roserade. So this I will shield, likely the Weather Ball, which it is, and I'm actually going to be able to farm all the way down here and have a ton of energy loaded for whatever comes in. Probably that Vigoroth here that I'm going to look to throw an Icy Wind at. And my opponent is going to take the debuff. That's why Dewgong is such a strong safe swap, is that Icy Wind debuff. And they come in with the Talonflame. I'm going to throw an Icy Wind here just to debuff them, and I'm going to come in and I'm just going to show them the Graveler and let them top left. This core, the Graveler, or the Graveler is just so good against this little core here. That's why I hide him in the back, because it breaks apart Talonflame half of the Vigoroth or Obstagoon core with the Talonflame. So that's kind of what this team was meant for, was to be able to break that core apart by getting the Altaria on the lead. And then, or drawing out their Vigoroth or Obstagoon. So we get a tree here. I do have to be careful of the Shadow Ball. Now my opponent baits me with a Seed Bomb like an expert champion, so I swap anyway to start getting a ton of energy. I have to let the Seed Bomb go through. I know they're going to throw it, but I have to let it go. And then hopefully I have enough energy to handle whatever comes in, but my opponent stays in. And they're not going to be able to get to another Seed Bomb before I take them out here. So my opponent's Trevenant goes down here, and they're going to come in with a Talonflame. Now, every team seems to have Talonflame on it, which is why all 3 of these Mons are perfect, because all 3 of them are excellent when used against Talonflame. So I'm going to look to throw a move after throwing 3 Ice Shards here, because that's the best move timing against Incinerates. So I'm going to look to that. My opponent gets a swap in, and they bring in an Alolan Ninetales here. Now, this is actually kind of scary. They've got 2 shields, and they're running Powder Snow. So I am going to bring in my Graveler here, because I've really honestly got no other shot at this. I'm just going to go for the Rock Blast. I catch a Weather Ball here. So my opponent does use the energy. As long as I don't eat a Dazzling Gleam, I'm going to be in good place here. And all I have to do is throw Rock Blasts when I get them to get the shields. And then the opponent really doesn't have much else to do here. I've got as long as I can get rid of this Ninetales, I've got an Altaria with full HP ready to handle the rest of this team. So I will shield this, because even if it's not the Dazzling Gleam, I don't want to deal with it, but they do throw the Dazzling Gleam, and I shield it correctly. Which means now what I can do is I can just go for these Rock Blasts. My opponent is not going to swap in on this, because my Graveler has so much energy that they're either going to be forced to shield or sack whatever they've got in the back here. So they're going to go now for a Weather Ball. I'm okay to let this through, because it's a debuffed Weather Ball, not going to do a whole ton of damage. My opponent's not bringing in. They're going to bring in the Talonflame. They're going to try and take out the Graveler, but I'm going to be able to bring in my Altaria to eat this move here. And they're going to throw the Flame Charge. I'll be able to Dragon Breath down and throw a Sky Attack at the Ninetales and seal this game up nice and tight. Altaria, with all the ice types, even then, it's still doing so good. It's putting a lot of work. Can't fault it, man. It's so good. That's why it's a Great League staple. So Captain Caveman. There we go. Tongue Twister. So this guy, I ran into this guy. He's playing some spice. Now he's got a Sableye on the lead. Now I have to be careful because I have seen Sableyes running Power Gem. Now I know his is purified, so I'm not sure what it's going to hit me with. So I immediately swap into Dewgong here, looking to start getting ahead on energy. He swaps out into a Talonflame, and typically this is a great opportunity to flex my Dewgong's abilities here. We're going to go for the Icy Wind. We're going to chunk or get a shield, and then either Graveler or Altaria can come in and handle this thing. So he's going to be able to get this move off here. And he's going to hit me with a Flame Charge. It's going to be a debuff Flame Charge, so we're going to be throwing buffs and debuffs back and forth here for a minute. But he's going to be able to get to that Flame Charge before I am, and I do shield. I want to get off one more Icy Wind. I want to either flip switch on him, or I want to bring in the Altaria to farm down. Now, that may have been a mistake here, and I was not expecting him to come in with a Dewgong, but he comes in with the Dewgong, and he's going to be able to farm my Altaria all the way to hell down. Now, this is dangerous because my Dewgong does not have a ton of play against other Dewgong that's got a ton of energy, and my Graveler is going to eat a Water Pulse and die. Like, that's about all I got. But he lets the Moonblast through, so he's looking to save 2 shields for his other mons in the back. Now, he's likely to shield this because he's got too much energy on the Dewgong, so he does go ahead and shield this. He continues to farm all the way down, within range of 1 Volt Switch to take it out. The Volt Switch goes through. I know he's going to throw an Icy Wind, so I'm not going to shield this. I'm going to save my shield for the Sableye that comes in. He comes in with the Sableye. He's going to throw Foul Play. No use in throwing any other moves that Sableye can learn, so I'm going to soak this Foul Play. I'm going to look to come in with an Icy Wind here, throw the Icy Wind on the Sableye. I'm at a rate that he can farm me down, but he has to shield this. Now, here's the deal, is I'm saving shields at this point because I know that both the Graveler, or both the Dewgong and the Sableye are now low enough that 1 Volt Switch should take him out. He gets a move off, denies the Volt Switch that should have gone through to take out the Sableye after this, and I should have a Rock Blast loaded, which I do, but he gets off another Foul Play. So, unfortunately, denials were going to be the death of me in that game, but good game to Captain Caveman there. Perfectly played by him. Just the denial, unfortunately, made all the difference there. So we've got the Obstagoon lead here I was talking about. Yeah, had the Volt Switches gone through, we would have been able to take out the Sableye, and then the Rock Blast would have gone through on the unshielded Dewgong to take it out. So, playing out this lead against the Obstagoon, again, just like Vigoroth, there's nothing that I can do here except for staying to play this out. I'm not going to shield any of their Night Slashes until I'm just about to get taken out. Now, sometimes I'll go straight for the Moonblast. Other times I should go straight for the Sky Attack because either they shield and I get to use less energy, or they don't shield and I get to farm down. But this is just one of those cases where I go for the Moonblast and I'm going to get a shield here because my opponent, for some reason, doesn't want Altaria. So they've probably got the Talonflame in the back, which normally I'm fine with. That's what this team is designed to handle. They're going to get to a move right as I get to the Sky Attack, so I'm going to shield in hopes that I can actually go ahead and get this thing out of here. Again, I don't want this thing to see my backline at all. I don't want it. I don't need it. So I'm going to throw the Sky Attack. They're going to let it go, but they're going to come in with a Talonflame, and I'm going to come in with my Dewgong immediately as a safe swap measure here, and I'm going to be able to get off a few Ice Shards. I'm going to save the Icy Wind, and I'm expecting a Brave Bird here. So they're going to throw the Brave Bird. I will shield that up, and then they're going to come in with a Diggersby. Diggersby is not an answer to a Dewgong, especially one with so much energy. So there goes an Ice Shard. We're going to come in with another Ice Shard here before they can even get to an Earthquake. Another double debuff before they can even throw a charge move. My opponent is in a bad spot, so I'm going to just farm this all the way down. I have no reason not to, because I can just throw Icy Winds or a Water Pulse at the Talonflame. I might not even need Gravel. Look at how much an Earthquake just tickles after being debuffed twice by my Dewgong. Dewgong in here flexing on this Diggersby with the ice damage that it's putting out. Gonna take it out here. There's no way my opponent does anything that can take out with that little energy. So we're gonna go in, throw one Icy Wind at the Talonflame here, and then we're going to be able to take it out in pretty short order by swapping in the Flex of a Graveler, and they are just going to top left here. My opponent knows exactly what's happening here. Good game to them. And this isn't just me picking out battles either. I mean, I picked out some battles, but Oh, so many of these battles were just Talonflame in the back, Vigoroth Obstagoon in the front. So this isn't, I mean, this is why this team took me to Veteran, because it broke apart these cores so very nicely here. And this is just a showcase of just how strong it is. Versus with the Dewgong save swap, it's too good. It's so consistent. It's so eerily consistent. Now my opponent catches a Sky Attack on a Ufisk. This hurts me. This hurts my soul. I hate that pancake. But I'm going to come in now with the Dewgong because I know that that is going to be my best shot to taking out this Unova Stunfisk. My opponent denies an Ice Shard there. It looks, or maybe, I'm not sure. That timing was weird. It looked weird, at least on my end. So they're going to go for the Discharge. I will shield the first one, just knowing that I want to shield the first move before they get debuffed, and then I can tank the rest. My opponent here is going to go and not shield this move, and they're going to go for a Discharge. I don't need to shield this anymore. I'm going to be able to farm them right now and have energy for when they come in with that Vigoroth. I'm going to farm it down. Perfectly taken out without getting into another move. And they're going to come back in with the Vigoroth. I will immediately throw the Icy Wind just to be able to get that damage off and also debuff them before they can start flurrying me with counters. And I'll just go. They'll have to just shoot energy my way, and because it's debuffed, the Body Slam won't do too much damage, but it'll do a respectable amount. But I'm going to be able to get to an Icy Wind here. I'm going to save it for later. My opponent's going to throw a debuffed Body Slam into my Altaria, and I'm going to see what they've got in the back. I was hoping to snipe the Vigoroth here, but they were able to throw just in time, and they come with a Talonflame. The writing is on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going to be able to get past my Graveler at all, but let's find out what happens. They've got 2 shields. Let's see what they can do. Should be able to get to another Sky Attack and do a ton of damage before they can get it out. I'm going to save the shield here for my Graveler. I'm going to let Graveler come in, and I'm going to let Graveler farm it down. I'm going to save the Dewgong for a worst case scenario in case something happens. I get hit by lag or my opponent just something happens. I don't know. And there's nothing here logically should happen. But they go for the Brave Bird to get some damage off, and they stay in to let me farm him down. They just concede because they know what's going to happen. So, good game to my opponent and their Talonflame. Speaking of Talonflames, we get a Talonflame lead. So now I'm expecting there to be a Vigoroth swap in. They are staying in to play this matchup out. Now, here's the thing is if they do this, they're typically going to go for the Brave Bird and swap out. Now, I could choose to shield this or not. I choose to save the shields here because I don't know what's in the back, and I know that I can survive a Brave Bird. My opponent comes in with a Vigoroth. So I should have spent the shield here, knowing that I had so much energy that I could have probably taken out this Vigoroth. Now, I don't have any way. I can't swap out of this. I have to do as much damage as I possibly can with my Altaria. I'm going to have to spend the shield on the Body Slam instead of the Brave Bird, so that was my mistake here. I could have probably done much better in this matchup if I just shielded the Brave Bird. But being able to get this Sky Attack off is going to force a shield off my opponent, and they're starting to get to a point where they're low enough that I might be able to farm them down with my Dewgong. So I am going to just let my Altaria get it as low as I can. My opponent's going to have a Body Slam loaded, and that's fine. I'm going to get in here with the Dewgong, and I'm going to start farming down. I would like to get this Vigoroth the hell out of here if I can possibly help it. They're going to throw a Body Slam at me, and they are going to be able to throw another Body Slam at me without being able to go down to my Ice Shard damage. So I have to no-shield these. I don't have a choice. I have to save my shield for that Talonflame or whatever else. And they have the Obstagoon. They're running the double core. They're running the Vigoroth Obstagoon backline with the Talonflame. This is immediately tough. I'm pretty much expecting this game to be over at this point. There's not much I can do here. My opponent comes in with a Talonflame as soon as I swap in the Graveler. That is a big mistake. I think they may have meant to blind switch there. I'm not spending a shield here. They're going to do resist damage. Even if it's Brave Bird, it's not going to hurt that bad. They're going to go for the Flame Charge. I'm going to take them out here before they can do any more damage with that Talonflame. And I've got basically double Stonehenge loaded just for you, Obstagoon. Being able to turn that around because we had the lead advantage. Going to be able to take out the Obstagoon. And I forgot to hit the Kaboom button. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was the last battle there. So, recap. This particular set wasn't great. But like I said, I kind of handpicked some battles there. And also just a showcase of the team, if you will. I was able to just skyrocket over the 2,500 hump the other day with this team. And one day I wasn't recording, of course. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. That was a blast of a team to run. Super consistent. Probably one of my favorite teams in the Holiday Cup, with Dewgong especially being probably the best pick of all of them because of just how good it is. Super consistent team. Can't sing the praises enough. Obviously, there are hard counters, but we can get around them in some cases. So, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this week's video. Again, if you want early access to teams like this, my meta tips, and even coaching, there's a Patreon link in the description below. Please check it out if that's something that interests you. Otherwise, please hit that like, the comment, and maybe hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. Please and thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.